It is because I know it's only January 9th, but we've had the game of the year. We got Cortenbaugh, we got Louis Riddick, we got Josh, we got Jordan, we got a cast of thousands on the way. Oh, what a game we had in the desert last night. Let's go. Fiesta Bowl National Semifinals. A spot in the championship game is at stake. And you could feel Louis in the pregame, the tension in the air. Mario Cristobal's guys obviously trying to get back. Pete Golding, the story of Ole Miss and Trinidad Chambliss. And here we go. Picking up first place, second quarter, Keywan Lacey.
Look, this guy is a Darren McFadden clone. You guys remember, if you're an old Razorback fan, he's built just like him. Where's that number 5, that long stride? You thought, oh boy, here we go.
73 yards, but tweaks the hamstring, would leave, not return in the first half. Now we're 3 minutes to go in the half, tied at 10, Miami. Carson Beck, watch him extend, and then we got a man wide open down the field.
Look, these are kind of things that Shannon Dawson, their offensive coordinator, have been asking Carson Beck to do all season long. Use your legs, buy time, scramble when necessary. There he just throws a dime.
Miami almost 23 minutes time of possession in the first half. Fourth quarter, this is where the lead changes. Would go back and forth. Ole Miss down 17-16. This is on a third goal. We're dropped by Lacey. Eli Manning in attendance can't believe it because instead of the 6, they wind up with the 3, and Ole Miss has a 19-17 lead. Ensuing Miami drive. What can we say about the freshman Malachi Tony?
Look, he is just so strong after the catch. That's great vision, great open field speed and run skills. This is something that's plagued Ole Miss all season long. Poor play entry angles and tackling. It's been something that plagued them in this game. You saw it all season.
They didn't get a single handoff.
Yeah, I mean, that's been a problem for them. It came back to bite them.
Miami retakes the lead 24-19. Ole Miss gets it back. This is on a 3rd and 8 play for Chambliss. Looking for Harrison Wallace the third. We got a late flag. Lewis, good call or bad call?
Absolutely a good call. You're going to see the right arm of the defensive back wrap around Harrison Wallace's waist. You see it right there. They got to call that every single time.
Automatic first down, Ole Miss, and then Chambliss doing what he's done so well this year, Lewis, with his legs.
Yeah, this is the magic. This is the magic that this young man possesses. He can do it all. He had him right on the doorstep.
And then he would punch it in. This is Daquan Wright. It's a touchdown for Ole Miss. They reclaim the lead. Now they're going to go for 2. Ensuing 2-point conversion. Caleb Odom. Oh, my goodness, Ole Miss is ahead 27-24.
And just a great play call on the part of Charlie Weiss Jr., who called a magnificent game for the Ole Miss Rebels last night.
All right, so Carson Beck, here's the moment you've waited for all your life. 2 minutes to go, 3rd and 8. Beck, Marion, pulled down. Face mask, good call?
It absolutely is. Look, when you're running these back shoulders and the defensive back's trying to put on the brakes and kind of match the route, sometimes they put their hands out, sometimes you get called.
Here's another 3rd and 6. C.J. Daniels, look at the effort, straining for the first down, and Miami keeps the drive alive. Now we're under a minute to go in the fourth quarter. 3rd and 10. This is a clutch throw to Marion.
I mean, these are the kind of things that Carson Beck did all night long. This is why people thought he was a first-round quarterback at the beginning of this year, maybe the best quarterback in college football at the beginning of the year.
37 seconds to go. What a game. Beck again. Marion again. He had 7 catches, 114 yards, and that would set up this. 24 seconds to go. Carson Beck, the moment of his life.
Yeah, using his legs once again. He showed you exactly what he possesses in terms of the full skill set and arsenal.
Ole Miss defense on the field for 40 minutes at this point in the game.
And Carson Beck taking advantage. Miami up 31-27, but we've got 18 seconds left to play. Does Chambliss have the magic? Caden Lee is down there. 23 yards and a first down. Tick, 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 tick. 11 seconds to go when they spike it. So the next play is a 2nd down, and it's Chambliss, and it's Stribling. And it's a 17-yard pickup, and that sets up this. 6 seconds left for the championship game. The emotions, the prayers, which would be answered? Ole Miss, one final snap from the 35-yard line. Chambliss rolling, throwing, Stribling is down there. Pulled down, no flag, ball game. Lewis, what do we think of the no call?
Look, this is pass interference. It just is. As a former defensive back, you know I hate to say that, but that's pass interference, and that is not a Hail Mary throw. That is the kind of throw in the middle of the game is going to get called every single time.
We will talk about it at length because what it leads to is the thrill of victory and the agony of defeat. The Ole Miss run comes up just short. Meanwhile, the U is back, and they're headed home to play for the title. Here was Carson Beck with Holly on the game-winning touchdown.
It's the best feeling I've ever had in my life. Man, I'm so proud of this team. We never flinched. I mean, in the face of adversity, when we had to respond, we responded. We never gave up.
What did you say to your offense right before you drove it down for the win?
I told them we got 3 minutes for the rest of our life, bro. Don't shit else matters.
Okay, you want to talk about a man, if you know the story behind his story, all that he has been through, the time at Georgia, the UCL surgery, didn't know if he'd ever throw a football again, and there he is with the crowning moment of his career as the U is headed back to Miami to play for the national championship a week from Monday. We're going to get to the pass interference in a second, but let's just start with that. Josh Pate, #1 reaction, Carson Beck, writing the ultimate, penultimate chapter to his story. Top line thought, Josh Pate, go.
I think back to looking on the sideline last night. Who's there? A number of dignitaries are there, but Cam Ward's there too, which jogged my memory to the #1 headline I remember seeing is Carson Beck's not going to be able to fill the shoes of Cam Ward. Like, that's the way it works. I mean, we're not playing golf or tennis. It is a team game. He just talked about being proud of that team. It's a new age in college football. So, #1, people want to know in the transfer portal quarterback era, well, whose shoes are you filling? #2, how much money are you making? And then I look at that moment right there and say, I don't care, because that right there makes it all worth it. Carson Beck, I feel like he's played 15 years, and he's got the exuberance of a true freshman running in there for what turns out to be the game-winning touchdown. That's one of the most awesome moments that you'll see in college football. And that last drive, and they needed every bit of it, 2 touchdown drives in the final 5 minutes for Miami. Miami's got a storied tradition, man. That drive right there is going to be mentioned 20 years from now as part of that storied tradition.
They win the game a week from Monday night, then this is where the story began. Jordan Rogers, thoughts?
It was a legacy game for Carson Beck. That is why you go pay a veteran quarterback $4 million. Because when the game is on the line, he didn't flinch. And what I love about this is he put together a 15-play, 75-yard touchdown drive to win it. You know the type of patience and restraint it takes from a quarterback to just be surgical, to not press, to not force a throw into tight coverage when you don't need to. He took exactly what was there for him. He threw the ball into tight windows, but he was calculated, he was surgical, and at the end of the game, like I said before, his legs, going back to the Ohio State game, have been the difference. His decision-making on when to let it go, when to take off his legs, that was not the Carson Beck we saw earlier in the year. Late in the games against Louisville and SMU, it was the bad mistakes, forcing the football when he didn't need to. This was the Carson Beck we expected to see. This is the one we got, and this is the version that can win a national championship.
All right, we've talked much more about him and them as we go. And, Lewis, at some point this morning, I will ask you about what all this may mean for Carson Beck when we roll around to the draft. However, we have to talk about the last play of the game. I know that it was pass interference because I've watched football before. And if that isn't pass interference, I don't know what is. I will remind everyone who is more of a pro football fan than a college football fan. If this is called, it's not ball on the 1-yard line. The official is not giving Ole Miss the game. It's a 15-yard penalty, and they get one more crack. Lewis, I'll let you pick up where you were in the highlight. Should that have been called pass interference?
Yeah, it has to be called pass interference because that's exactly what it is. Look, the defensive back never really tries to make a play on the ball. He has his hand on the jersey of Deshaun Stribling right there. You see, he never really tries to go up and make a play on the football. He just basically pulls him to the ground. And in the normal course of a game, this is going to be called 100 out of 100 times. And I understand, look, the argument about, when you're talking about jump ball situations, Hail Mary situations, that a lot of times refs just kind of let things go. But that right there, that is not a jump ball. That is not a Hail Mary situation. This is basically one-on-one DB versus wide receiver. And the wide receiver is getting mugged and pulled to the ground. And that's just a fact. So for you to swallow the whistle and just let them play at that point and not want to interject yourself and say, hey, look, I don't want to decide the football game as an official. I want the players to decide it. Well, quite honestly, right there, I can understand why the Ole Miss fan base right now and the Ole Miss players are absolutely livid right now because they're going to say, look, that is pass interference all day long. How can you not call that? It's a one-on-one situation. This wasn't 4 guys and 4 guys in a scrum. This is one-on-one.
Jordan.
Why do we officiate end-of-game plays like this any different? And we do. We talk about it, too. Refs talk about it. It's got to be egregious. It has to be blatant. Why? This obviously was blatant. This was egregious. But why do we let more physicality at the end of a game happen than we do any other play? And we're okay with it. I don't get it. This has to be called. You have 2 refs. That's all they're looking at. That guy right there in the bottom right corner, he's got a perfect view for that DB holding the jersey and mugging, like Lewis said. Dejon Stribling, again, this didn't dictate the game. Ole Miss would have had one more play from the 20-yard line. This is not why they lost. But every time I see these plays, why are we okay with more physicality on these plays? Why do we allow it to happen? Why is it not officiated the same way every other pass play is? I think that's our fault. That's the ref's fault. It's the way we talk about it. We allow it. And in moments like this, we regret it.
I think Lewis made a really important point in this too, Josh Pate, which is a Hail Mary is one thing. When there's 8 guys, 4 on each side, and they're all jumping like it's a volleyball play, then maybe you let more things go. But that's not what this is.
Right.
This looks the way it shapes out, it's just basically a one-on-one route in the corner of the end zone, and it's a ball that I think will be caught, or at least he has an excellent chance of catching and getting 1 foot in bounds if the call is not made, if the interference is not there.
If you followed Ole Miss football season long, Dejon Stribling has come down with these kind of plays over and over again. He's a stud. He's an absolute stud. He doesn't get a chance to make a play on the ball. Simple as that. And look, Jordan makes a great point. This does not guarantee that Ole Miss would have won the game because they would still had one more play. But you have to call that. You just do. It's too easy of a call to make, especially with the referee in position the way he was.
Pate.
Yeah, you can also tell. I mean, like if you grow up in the country, like where I come from, you don't really drive what the speed limit sign says. You drive the speed you know you can drive, because on some roads they just